And time for us to speak with Josh Winger from the law firm of Byrd and Byrd, LLC. Good morning, Josh.
Hi, Bill. Thanks for having me on the show.
You bet. Hey, let's talk about guardianship. What is guardianship?
Sure. Well, a guardianship is a way through the court system to help care for someone who does not have the ability to care for him or herself. It could be for someone who has a disability preventing him or her from self-care, or it could be for someone who's too young to care for him or herself.
Okay, now, Josh, is there more than one kind of guardianship?
Yes. In Maryland, there are two general types of guardianships. First, there's the guardianship of the person, which is to help someone with health care. And then number two, a guardianship of the property, which in many states is called a conservatorship, which is to help someone with their finances or property. There are very specific and different definitions in Maryland law for what it means to be a disabled person regarding a guardianship of the person and guardianship of the property. There can also be guardianships for a child under age 18 if there's no one living and responsible parent to care for that child.
Okay, now who can be a guardian for someone else in need?
Well, there's a hierarchy of people who are eligible to serve as guardian. In general, the hierarchy is based on the closeness to the person who needs the guardian. For example, a spouse is considered to be closest to a disabled person. However, above all else, a person can execute a document stating anyone they want to be their guardian in the event they become disabled and need a guardian.
Okay, now talking about guardians, what powers and responsibilities does a guardian have?
Well, in Maryland, there is a broad listing of powers a guardian has by default. Some specific decisions normally require court approval, such as if a guardian decides the disabled person needs to move to an assisted living facility, or if the guardian decides the disabled person's home should be sold. Now, a guardian's responsibilities overall mean that the guardian must always act as the guardian reasonably believes is good for that disabled person. The guardian normally also must account to the court, or at least annually, exactly what has happened with the disabled person or the disabled person's property during the previous year.
Okay, now how long does it take to get a guardianship?
Unfortunately, typically a guardianship can take several months to obtain. It's a very careful process that the court takes very seriously, and rightly so. The decision of whether someone needs a guardian either because of disability or being underage, and if so, who the guardian should be, is not taken lightly. Of course, one downside to the long length of time to obtain a guardianship is that sometimes there are emergencies that require action in the meantime. If need be, a court can appoint a temporary emergency guardian or issue orders allowing very specific and limited action before a permanent guardian is appointed.
Okay, now is there any way to avoid the need for a guardianship?
Well, yes, that's the good part. So, yes, there are two main ways to avoid a guardianship, but they both need to be done while before the person becomes disabled. So it is important to act now while you're healthy. First, a person can execute powers of attorney authorizing a person to act on his or her place in the event there's ever a disability preventing caring either for one's own health or for finances or property. Healthcare power of attorney is also called an advance directive, healthcare proxy, or maybe even a living will. Another way to avoid specifically a guardianship of the property is to create a trust and transfer property to the trust and designate a successor trustee to take over in the trust in the event the trust maker ever becomes disabled.
Okay, now we've covered a lot of ground here, Josh. If any of our listeners have additional questions or they want to learn more about guardianships or estates, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, we can be reached at 301-464-7448 or our website, byrdandbyrd.com. That's Byrd with a Y. As a reminder, our firm will be hosting a long-term care Medicaid workshop on Monday, August 11th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at our office in Bowie. Also, our firm will be hosting an estate and trust workshop on Thursday, August 21st at our Prince Frederick office, also from 5:30 to 7 p.m. All the workshops are free and informal. The space is limited to 10 people, so you should call ahead and reserve your seat. There will also be light refreshments served. We do the Medicaid Mondays workshops on the second Monday of each month, and the Estate Planning Takeaway Thursdays workshops on the third Thursday of every month. So if you cannot make the August dates, you can still attend the workshops we have planned for September or October. Thank you very much for having me on the show, Bill, and we hope everyone joins us next week for more tips.
Okay, thank you, Josh. That's Josh Winger from the law firm of Byrd and Byrd, elder law attorneys with offices in Bowie and Prince Frederick, Maryland. Not just good lawyers, good counsel.